three. Well, welcome, Clive and Laura. These two don't really need an introduction, but they are two wonderful people deep in the prog world, and everyone knows Clive from all the many bands and projects that he's done. And the same goes for Laura. Laura is very busy down in Italy, and she loves working with Clive. And it may not be the same. It may not. No, I'm kidding. No, he wouldn't.
Or the opposite.
No, he wouldn't keep asking her back unless she was doing something. No, she's got a great voice, and he's always got something new, and we're hopefully going to talk about some of those new things. But first of all, we're going to talk about their latest album, which is The Mortal Light, and they're both on this, and they both play hated enemies of each other, and we'll get into that. And then they're doing a live concert, and I think, yeah, Verona, Italy. And we'll talk about that and then whatever else they want to talk about. But I'm going to go ahead and let them say hi because my wife is like, these introductions are too long. Go ahead and say hi.
Too long, but we love them. Hello, Mark, and thanks for having us here. Hi, hope you're doing well. It's always a pleasure for me to sit here in your lounge. I love it.
Oh yeah, that's cool. She makes it
Yes, it's your
real.
lounge.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, hello. There you go. Keep it nice and short. Nice to talk to you.
He does, but his writing is very extensive, and the guy just keeps coming up with new stuff. And yeah, uh, yeah. All right. So they released The Mortal Light on February the 15th, and it is the third part of the Alchemy trilogy. And tell us how, for those of you, there may be some people out there, don't know if there are any, but that have no idea what alchemy means, what it's about, and specifically what your project was about. So kind of talk about how that began, evolved. Where did you come up with the idea?
Well, many years ago, I mean, from childhood, I've always wanted to get involved in writing musicals. It's kind of just something I grew up with as a child. But it wasn't a very practical possibility, at least for a while. But then after, the work I was doing with Pendragon and Arena and Shadowland and Strange Night Train and all the bands, I reached a point where there was a sort of an element of credibility. So I could turn to a record label and say, look, I'd like to do this. Would you support it? And that's what happened. So I turned to Metal Mind in Poland. And I said, look, I've got this story I'd like to set as a musical. And that was She, which is a Victorian novel written by Rider Haggard. And it was actually a Hammer horror film as well. And I saw the film as a child, and it affected me badly, I'm sure. And but it stuck with me, and I just thought, what a great story. And I read the book, and so that was the first musical I wrote, and it was kind of packaged up to be a prog rock musical because I think the record company didn't want to risk too much, and a lot of people probably thought they were just indulging, let Clive get it out of his system, the whole musicals thing, and then we can move on. But writing She only opened a doorway to something more as far as I was concerned. But when I started thinking about doing another one, I went around all the classic novels and books and bits of the Bible and all the rest of books and bits of the Bible and all the rest of books and bits of the Bible and all the rest of books and bits of the Bible and all the rest of books and bits of the Bible and all the rest of
Oh
books and
no,
bits of the Bible and all the
we
rest of
got
books and bits of
we
the
Is he
got it.
Bible and
doing
all the
that
rest
on
of
Got it
books and
purpose?
bits of the
again.
Bible and all the rest of books and bits of the Bible and all the rest of books and bits of the Bible and all the rest of books and bits of the
Yes, the
Bible and all the
usual
rest of
thing.
books and bits of the Bible and all the
Unfortunately,
rest
this
of books.
happens sometimes. So,
Well, they
Clive, you're
recorded, so I don't
stuck
know
into
how he did that, but
it's not the
he's
first
just
time it happens. Unfortunately, I think it's his connection. It I don't know. It happened even when I was in the UK and we had an interview. So we were there together, and no, it happened again. So sometimes, yes, this is.
I
He will
think
soon come back.
didn't he skip Cameron? Oh, I can never remember the way that's spelled. Kamora, wasn't that after she, if I remember correctly? Is
So
that
Camera is basically the theater company that he built up at a certain point. So started to write. He started to write the alchemy that is now at the fourth chapter with this mortal light. But I really wish that he could come up with this story, and hopefully we will have him back as soon as possible. So yeah, I don't know. Shall I try to see what's happening?
sure?
Oh God,
Yeah, what I
technical
can,
problems when.
I'll tell you what I can do. Let me go ahead and pause it and hold.
Yes.
Okay, he was having a little. Clive was having a little technical difficulties, but he's back, and we're going to go ahead and continue with. He's talking about his project sheet. Go ahead.
Okay, yes. Well, that was under the project name Karma, because at that stage, I don't know, I didn't want to put my name to it particularly. I just thought I'd give it a project name and we'll see where it goes. After that, it made, because I'm basically writing musicals, it made more sense to put it under my own name. So Karma became almost like an umbrella that I used to perform these things. So I started a thing called the Karma Theatre Group over here in England, and in fact, Karma Norway was also started. But that's a whole set of other stories. So I'm going to rush past all of that.
And
Basically, I
by the way,
tried to write.
you did take this to the stage and acted it all out, and
Yeah, we've
video.
performed she actually around the world. We performed it in Bolivia. We've performed it in Germany and Holland, and of course England, and on stage as a full theatrical performance as well as concert performances. So yes, it's been around.
One
Um,
one last question about that. Do you still are you still in contact with the I think she was Polish.
Agnieszka.
She was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah, well, I mean, she sort of does her own thing. She's got a whole TikTok thing going at the moment,
okay.
uh, where she sort of does slightly poppier material, I think. And I think she seems quite happy doing that. I'm not really. I'm sort of it's happy birthday, happy Christmas, and the occasional message, basically. But I'm not really actively working with her now.
No,
But I think we did a good thing during the She period, definitely.
she was incredible. Yeah.
Mm.
All right, go
Yeah,
ahead.
she
I'm
had
sorry.
she had a presence which I think worked very well. After that, I was looking for a new story, and I realised that every good story that I could find was already existing as a musical. So I sat down one day and I just wrote a list of things I'd like to see in a musical. And believe me, I know a lot of musicals, so it was kind of a good, sort of set pieces, whether it's a graveyard scene or a chase or whatever. Um, and then I just thought, well, I'll write a story that somehow it uses a lot of these sequences. And so I wrote a story and I created some characters and Professor King and his team, and that was Alchemy. Um, and I sort of before I ever wrote a story, I kind of created a universe is a rather grandiose word, but a kind of an environment, this whole steampunk London, steampunk Victorian era thing, where I mashed a bit of history together slightly and, just to kind of make things more exciting, at least as I saw them. And so when I wrote Alchemy, the story, I already knew that there was probably the potential to write quite a few stories. It was almost like I'd sort of created something that would set up nicely as a graphic novel, basically. Um, and so we brought out Alchemy, and yeah, again, it went on. We did it on stage. We did it even off West End, which was an amazing experience. And then I wrote a sequel to that called King's Ransom, which was the second Alchemy musical. Same kind of, well, some of the same characters, Professor King, and his team again fighting a new baddie, who was obviously worse than the first baddie, as is the tradition in Victorian nonsense like this sort of stuff is. And then I wrote The Mortal Light, where we needed an even worse baddie. And I thought, well, it can only be a female this time. We've got to, shape it up a little bit. So that's where Laura comes into the picture. And I thought, just to make it extra difficult for Professor King and his team, if we made her a kind of a demigod, then she'd be particularly difficult to beat. So that's, so then we reached the third one, which is The Mortal Light, which is the one that's just come out.
All right, tell us, Laura, what was it like being that demigod?
As all the characters created by Clive, amazing. Was a brilliant character, amazing and very well. I remember when he asked me this, it was kind of, how many years ago was that? Like many years ago
Well,
when you asked me.
six,
Wow.
7.
Yes, I
Mm.
remember that we
I
were.
wrote the first song in 2019.
I
Yeah.
remember that standing in your kitchen, and you asked me after a while. No, he wasn't there when you wrote to me. I think I would like to have you as Macaria in my next chapter of the musical, and I said. Well, you couldn't see me. You couldn't see me actually. I went mad, absolutely
Yeah.
nuts. I was like the jumping around everywhere, and very, very happy. It's a very intriguing character. I feel it's really it's mine, really mine. So wow, that was it was a beautiful journey also to get a more, let's say, in that case, a more musical sound. So yes, rock, but in the same time, I had to learn a path to become a bit more musical also, and that was stimulating too, because I love challenges, and each and every album I would really love to go through some challenges, and that's what makes you grow. You never stop growing, as I say. And Macaria was really an amazing challenge, really.
There's a
Yeah.
sort of story behind this which I've never told anybody.
Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you. Um, and that's right at the beginning. So about 6, 7 years ago, um, I knew Laura, but we were just at the very beginning of what we were doing. But a lady contacted me through a mutual friend, and she was I can't remember if she was Swedish or, but anyway, she was Scandinavian, and she had already had some kind of a hit years before. I'm afraid I'm forgetting all the names and details at the moment, but anyway, she came over and she was asking whether it'd be possible for me to get involved in writing some music for a project that she wanted to do. And I was a little vague about what exactly, because I thought initially she perhaps wanted to write a musical. And I thought, well, I kind of, sort of do that myself anyway. But she wanted to do something that was more of a kind of, I don't know what it was. I'm going to say a fashion show, but she'd probably kill me because that's not exactly what it was. But with the music was part of a bigger whole. And she was talking about the whole kind of Viking legends and all the rest of it. And I said, well, I've never done anything Viking as such. And she said, well, you could do. And she told me about these instruments, the nickel harper and stuff like this. And at that particular moment meant nothing whatsoever. But I wrote a piece of music for her, and she kind of went off in other directions. The project never really took off, but she did take this one song, this one piece of music that I'd done, and eventually she turned it into a kind of a Christmas song. It's a good point. It's a Christmas song. Anyway, but basically, sort of a Christmas song. But my point is this: that is what set me initially on this path. And I thought, well, actually, I really like the sound of what I'd produced for this idea. But at that stage, I didn't really understand what the nickel harp was, so I just used a violin, and then started thinking, wouldn't it be interesting to go down that direction, the whole kind of Viking sort of mythology and everything for a character within the story of Professor King and alchemy. And that's one. So I wrote a piece of music for Laura, which was the very first thing I wrote for The Mortal Light, which was just called Macario, which was the name of the baddie. And this song just says, that she's in her throne room and she knows King's coming, and she's basically saying, I know you're on your way and I'm going to destroy you. And it's a powerful piece, and that was the first piece I wrote, and that opened a doorway for me because I loved that style and the sound and the passion and excitement. And I ended up writing Song of the Wildlands, which was a what I call my Viking album, which is the story of Beowulf. And I am now just recording, well, finishing up, I hope, recording the second one of these Viking albums, Song of the Winter Throne. And all of that came out of this one starting point, which was meeting this lady and talking about it, really, and then writing this song for Laura and for The Mortal Light. So
So
there we go. This
you
background I never told anybody before.
you helped lead him down this road. That's good.
Yeah.
And he built. Talk about the Viking building. This is a good time. You just mentioned it, but he went ahead. He got so into this whole Viking thing that it's part of his backyard now, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I ended up again. I'm trying to not make these stories too long, but basically through a series of various bits and pieces, I was doing a show in Cheltenham, which is about an hour away from where I live here, in a little theatre. And some of the people that came over to see it were from Norway, and they'd been over to see me do various things over the years. And anyway, I got talking, and they wanted to do some performances of my stuff in Norway, and that's how Karma in Norway began. So in the end, over the last years, I've spent a lot of time in Norway doing concerts and working with these guys. As a result of that, of course, I've become more and more kind of engrossed in the the Viking culture, the mythology, all the stuff that goes with it. And when I moved here about 4 years ago, it's a big old Victorian pile I'm sitting in, basically. I mean, it looks really impressive, but it needs a lot of work. But one of the things it has is a walled garden, which is a classic thing to have in a Victorian house. You have this lovely big walled garden, which protected all the fruit and the vegetables and the plants from the weather a little bit. And the previous owners had put a swimming pool in the middle of it, which was horrendous because it was in a complete state of disrepair. How often are you going to use an outdoor swimming pool in England? What, 3 days a year? So in the end, I thought, right, we'll fill it in. So we filled it in, 260 tons of mud, and then another 60 tons of mud after that, after it had subsided for a while. And I remember standing on the top of the swimming pool with a couple of friends. I said, do you know what we need? What we need right here is a Viking mead hall. And they laughed. But 1 year and a bit later, we
There.
got a Viking mead hall because it was just something I could see. And it's not just the mead hall. It's almost like a little village. There are wooden sort of outhouse things and extra sort of buildings around the side, so that the thing is a total sort of experience. So we started putting on musical events here, and in fact, we got one next week. So it's developed.
Do you want to tell people about that?
Well, first of all, the Viking mead hall. If you watched any of those TV series,
Oh, no, I meant
like Vikings or Valhalla. Well, the actual event. Well, I was going to say the Viking mead
Go
hall
ahead.
acts as a venue. I had this theory that it'd be great to put things on in there. And people, even if they don't remember the concert, they'll remember the place. It's an experience. It's got a smell and a feel to it, which is amazing. And so we have done three weekend events since we started. This one is going to be the fourth one. Each one has its own theme. So the first one was Vikings and Victorians, obviously. And we've got some reenactment Vikings who live around here who discovered that there's a mead hall in town now. So they come and they set up camp and they got a blacksmith and all that stuff. So it's a real immersive experience.
Oh, wow.
This weekend we've got it's a prog weekend. There's lots of different prog acts, and it's alien invasion. So we're actually building a flying saucer, partly embedded in the ground, and the whole thing is an experience. It's not just a little set of concerts. Imaginarium played there at the last one. We were at the when was it? Back in October last year. And that one was a kind of a warrior-based theme that was kind of cool as well. And we don't just have music; we have people talking about perhaps like this one coming up. We've got some experts talking about aliens in movies and so on and so forth. So it's yeah, it's a
It,
great
it's
experience. People who've come love it.
you get some history and background. That's good. Yeah,
Mm.
which
Yeah, absolutely.
people
That's the
need.
thing.
There's just not enough education out there anymore like there used to be. And Laura, I remember her dressing up like a Viking too. Um, that must
We
have
made our
Yeah,
video. We made our video there. Yeah.
wasn't that
Well,
fun?
that was the meat hall. Yeah.
it was a meatball, yes. But I dressed up as a Viking also during the October gig because, of course, we had Boudica, we had the whole warrior thing going on. So there was half and half. I was Renaissance dressed, and then I changed into Viking just to give this whole vibe of Renaissance mixed up. The historical part that is so important for Imaginarium, and we wanted to keep that identity, let's say, of history.
I bet you that place smells good too, because you probably, I think you have a fireplace or a fire pit or whatever in the middle, and
We
you
have it
got a few.
outside.
Oh, it's
The
outside.
Outside.
fireplace outside
Uh,
because
fire
we
people won't let you.
yeah, we came up with a few building regulation problems if we were to try and do that. It's all very well for the movies to do it, but so we have a very big fire pit outside, and you do get a wonderful smell of that sort of smoky atmosphere. But inside, it's all wood, which is a great smell as well. It's got that kind of deep wood smell to it. Because you've got to bear in mind, we only have 65, 66 tickets to sell. It's a very intimate thing. But it's not just what happens in the meat hall, it's all around as well. There are things happening outside at various points. You can obviously buy merchandise. There's a bar, you can get food and all that have you. So it's it's hopefully a full-on experience, and it's a 2 day thing that we've done so far. And this one will be the same Friday, Saturday. And yeah, we've got some interesting performers coming, so it should be good.
Do people stay there too? You put up tents or something, and they stay over.
They can if they want to. Not many. Some have, but
It's
it depends on the kind of the weather. There's a lot of bed and breakfasts and little hotels, all within walking distance to this place. So the whole village gets filled up with travellers for a couple of days, which is good business for the village as well, I think. Yeah,
Sounds like fun. Yeah. One of these days I'll get over there and do
there
that.
you go.
It would be a lot of fun. Um, okay, so let's talk about the actual story itself. So it, the professor uh, has to get this guy that was in purgatory. Talk about that. That had to be, it'd be so cool if you could do this in a video or something, but it would cost a lot of money, I'm sure, and take a lot of time. But yeah, the professor goes to purgatory and has to pull this guy out because he's the only one that cannot be seen. And I'll let you tell the rest of it. Go from there.
Well, yes. I mean, ultimately, Professor King is trying to come up with a way of destroying Macaria. And she's sort of put herself into this very powerful fortress in the furthest reaches of Norway. Um, but there's a kind of a loophole. She can sense living people, if you like, are coming towards her or coming into the fortress and whatever. But technically, King surmised that because he destroyed Jagman. Jagman was the baddie in the first in Alchemy,
Yeah.
and basically sent him into what we call purgatory, for want of a better description, the kind of land of the dead. So technically, Jagman's dead, but he never actually died on Earth. So we've got this nice little sort of technicality to play with. Again, a wonderful sort of Victorian device, really. So King and Eva, his assistant, they go in and they go into purgatory and they find him and they persuade him to come out with them, perhaps a chance for salvation for him, and he can help them get into the fortress and potentially destroy Macaria. So that's the reasoning, and it also meant that I got to bring Jagman back, who was a very colourful character from Alchemy. I mean, that's the beauty when you sort of own a universe like this, you can kill people off, and you can bring. It's like Star Trek, isn't it? So
Or
that's a kind of
Star Wars.
Exactly like Dallas.
Yeah.
Exactly like Dallas with
Dallas.
Bobby
Yes.
Ewing.
Or Dallas.
Yeah. There you go.
I
Or
Yeah.
remember that.
Star Wars with Darth Maul now. There's a big thing about him. Yeah, you
Yeah.
bring these people
Yeah.
back, but they you don't you sort of introduce them to people like you did, and then you find out, oh my God, they really were into that person. They really, want more from him or her, and
Yeah.
you're like, well, I got to put them back in, and yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And but it's also kind of fun. It kind of makes the stories more entertaining. So we bring back Jagman, and Jagman becomes part of King's team. But of course, you don't really know if you can trust him. I mean, certainly if you know alchemy, you'd be thinking, hang on a minute. And so you're kind of watching him in a very different way. But you see an evolution of a character there as well, which is good. The love story in the Mortal Light is because it's sort of been different in Alchemy, it's between William and Amelia, but Amelia gets murdered thanks to Jagman actually. So, and then William gets a second chance in King's Ransom with a doctor, but there's also a second love story between King and Eva, his assistant, who blossoms into more, as it were. And then in the third one, we have another love story sort of running underneath the whole thing, which is between two other characters. I won't sort of get too detailed, but because it's important. I mean, I was advised by someone who worked a lot in the West End. I remember having a meeting with her one time, and she said, "Look, if you're going to write a musical, you need to have nowadays particularly you've got to have everything in it. You've got to have happy, sad, introvert, extrovert, loud, soft, all,
So many
tragedy,
personality.
comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all got to be in there. And so I've done my best as I've developed in the writing of these things. I've done my best to kind of take that on board, and I actually think the Mortal Light might be my best example of managing to put it all in there. You've got the comedy of Tom and the relationship that he has with Alice, who is she's an explosives expert, but also happens to be clumsy. So there's and comedy ensues, and then you've got the brooding presence of Macaria throughout the whole thing, even though she, a bit like Phantom of the Opera, she only appears for a certain amount of small proportion of the whole musical, like the Phantom of the Opera only appears for a very small amount of the musical, but is constantly there. And that was what I was aiming to do with the Macaria character. And then you've got this kind of will he, won't he sort of vibe with Jagman coming back. So there's a lot of things to take on board. That's why in the end I treated myself with this musical. I didn't normally I limit myself to 1 hour and 50 minutes or as near as I can get there. With this, I just thought, nah, I'm just going to write what I want, and it ended up being 2 hours and 20 minutes. But never mind. Sorry about that.
It's intriguing all the way through. He keeps saying the word West End, and I think, and let's tell me if I'm right or wrong. West End is like Broadway over here.
Yes,
It's like
yes,
the
absolutely.
theatrical
Yes.
center of.
Yeah, so when I said about Alchemy getting off West End, it was like doing off Broadway. It's one of the satellite little
Okay.
theatres around the main body of Broadway or indeed the West End. Yeah.
Okay. And talk to us, Laura, because we haven't heard from you. What was it? What is it about Macaria that just you said, this is me. I can do this, and I can't wait to do this. What was it the music, the story, the one or two
It
songs,
was
in the end?
everything.
Go ahead.
It was everything. The music was really, it really suited me. The character itself was really. I love to sing and to be really queens. witches and baddies. I love even not baddies, but by the way, strong characters. I love that thing because I love to give the personality to that character, to the particular one. So even if Contessina, for example, in Medici wasn't a baddie. She was good, but she was a very strong character that everybody just people can imagine how she would have been. So I had to transfer all those feelings, contrasting feelings that she had in her character, in herself. And this is the same thing about Macaria. Macaria was when I heard the song, I said, "Oh my God, that's really that like a dress." Sewn on me, it's like it's a dress tailored on me. It's like going there and saying, "Wow, this is my Versace dress," and and so I said, "Wow, I absolutely loved it from the first second. I loved all the other songs too, and I really felt that yes, I'm Macaria. I'm Macaria. I couldn't, I would have killed anybody else taking the role, so I was Macaria."
All right. Now, how much of the story do you want to tell, or do you want to talk about the ending is very, very dramatic and like I say, this would be perfect for video. I know you got so much going on. The last thing you want to do is have to work on a video, but bringing her and you and the whole video together for that spectacular ending is absolutely, I mean, and on the album, it's fantastic, but I can imagine what it would be like in a video.
Well, that's the beauty of something like that. You know,
Yeah.
it is all about the imagination. As a child, when I used to listen to my parents' records of musicals. For some reason, there was a whole bunch of these musicals that didn't have the covers, the proper covers. So I didn't know the story of Sound of Music or My Fair Lady or South Pacific. I was kind of making it up based upon what I heard.
Yeah.
I was dramatically wrong in some cases, but it was fun. It was my imagination just going free and letting the music sort of bring something to me. Yes, I'm hoping it'll end up on stage at some point. So that'll be an interesting challenge. But I'll give you another little story. There's a moment in the musical which I wanted to do. I wanted to do actually years ago, and I just never found the right kind of combination of circumstance. I absolutely loved the third Indiana Jones film,
Oh, yeah.
um, with Sean Connery. And there's a wonderful moment to me, a wonderful moment at the near the end of the
The whole
film.
thing is for
Uh,
you, but
the,
yeah,
the place is coming down. He's got the Grail. They've done that. The woman tries to take the Grail,
go
and
back.
she crosses the seal. Yeah, and the whole place starts to fall apart, and there's absolute chaos. The soldiers are getting crushed under rocks, and there's a chasm open up. She falls down, drops the Grail, and she's trying to reach it, and she won't let Indiana Jones stop her, and she falls and disappears, and he slips, and then he's held by his hand by Dad,
Yeah,
Sean Connery, and there's chaos and the music's going crazy and there's rocks and boulders, and he said, "I can reach it, I can reach it," and Sean Connery or Dad says, "Indiana," and there's this moment where everything just goes calm. And
yeah,
everything focuses on his voice. I just thought it was one of the most magical moments
yeah,
where there was this moment of sanity. So I tried to recreate that in this as my little tribute in the musical. So we have that whole chaotic scene
yes,
where the portal to the dead is opening. The Macarius followers are breaking down the door. Macarius having a battle with whoever upstairs, and it's all coming apart. And they've got to blow up the pillars, and all this stuff's going on. And King is sort of saying, "Okay, I'm going to have to stay and do this," and da 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 da. And Jagman stops. He says, "Samuel."
yeah,
And then the music collapses down, and we get this 1 2 minute song that Andy Sears sings. Who I think he sang it brilliantly. He sang that. What you hear there is his demo, and I said, "Do not sing that again." You've got it. That's
It's
it.
perfect.
So he absolutely just got a wonderful moment for me. But the whole thing just collapsed in, and that's my little and that bit of tranquility, a little bit of focusing, and that's one of the most powerful songs in the musical for me because that's the thing
Yes.
I was thinking of when I wrote it. So now when you watch it or listen to it, I should say, you'll understand what I was trying to achieve at least.
And I didn't relate it to that movie, but I kind of had that same feeling that he was like, let it go, yeah. Um, it is it's an incredible, well, it's an incredible story throughout.
And
It,
that's preceded by the intensity of the relationship between King and Macaria because they've never met. But when they do meet, there's this kind of thing going on, which is weird because they've never met, but they kind of know each other.
yeah,
Or maybe they think they know each other. Who knows? And that song I constructed all around was because it was a geographical song, as I call it. So you've got Macario and King doing this kind of prowling around each other, if you like. Then somewhere else in the fortress, you've got the others coming in and various things happening. And then gradually their bit of music and our bit of music, it all combines into one big piece of music that's taking place in completely different places. That's always a compositional challenge which I enjoy.
yeah, that must have been very, very difficult. And yeah, you you experience that as a listener throughout, and it is tumultuous, and it's fun tumultuous. It's a kind of story that has you hanging on the edge of your seat, and everyone loves that. And yeah,
Although
definitely.
I think Laura was rather aggravated that I threatened to kill her off. So.
she gets
Well,
she
I'm a
gets pretty fierce.
demigoddess. I'm a demigod. You never know what happens with a demigod.
I don't think I've ever heard you growl, but you came damn close to it, I think.
I,
Yeah.
I
Well,
said something. Sorry.
sure.
I said something in the beginning, was it? Yeah, when I said I would have killed for that for being Macaria. I I might think that I'd rather kill Jagman, but I want to stay alive.
Yeah, yeah.
Come back
Well, I
again.
mean,
We have a lots
you've
of
got a,
things to talk about, King.
Well,
you've got a lot of
now that you
people
brought that
buried
up,
under piles of rubble.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted you.
No, no. So I was just going to say, I mean, by the end of the musical, there's an awful lot of people buried under millions of tons of rubble, basically. Who
Cassie.
knows?
Bad.
And so the big question, which I'm sure a lot of people that listen to this will ask, because you kind of leave the door open, is there going to be another one? Because originally, when I started reading through the bio and everything, it sounded like this was going to be the last one. But then I get towards the end and I'm like, he may have left that door open.
Yeah, I never wrote it to be the last one. I
Okay.
mean, I know people assume when you do three, that's a trilogy,
Well,
but not really. It's the only difficulty with writing, well, is, obviously you're right. When you write a musical, you have to write a cohesive piece of music. It's not a series of songs, and it's also the equivalent of a double album, if you like. So
yeah.
it's a lot. It's a big job. It's a really big job. You've got to create a story. It's a much more complicated job than producing an album for a band or something. And I kind of got lucky, if that's the way of putting it, in because of COVID, and we were all locked down for that, well, a lot of 1 year. I actually was able to write this whole musical in 5 months. Didn't come out for another 5 years, but I did write it in 5 months, which was pretty fast. Well, for me anyway, it
With the
felt pretty
depth
fast.
of this. Yeah.
So it's a big job. Would I write another one if I have the right story and if I start to feel that kind of urge? I will do. I've got a few ideas. I mean, he's definitely out there. Something's going to come along, I've no doubt. But at the moment, I'm just glad to get this one out, I think.
Yeah. You're trying to think up that next evil person that uh, he could fight with.
Well, that's it. Who could be more evil than Macaria? That's a tough one.
It would be tough.
We'll
Yeah,
come
there you
back.
go. Mhm.
We'll come
Is,
back.
is there anything more you want to say about this album? It's a great album. If you haven't heard it, those of you that are out there listening, that you've just heard how exciting and interesting it was to make. Now get out there and listen to it because it's one of his best. I mean, he's every one that he does is one of his best. But no, it's very good.
Yeah, I think it's worth a listen. I mean, if you like it, then you're in luck because Alchemy and King's Ransom both exist, are all part of the same sort of idea, musicals. So it's worth taking a chance. I think it's still me writing it. It's you're not gonna put that album on and suddenly discover that we're skipping around like a Broadway show. It's not quite like that. So check it out.
All right. And then they are going to do this Imaginarium show in Verona, Italy, June 6th. Tell us a little bit about that. And are you working on another chapter of that? Or tell us what that's all about.
I'll let Laura do some talking now, I think.
Well, we are preparing this, let's say, this intimate gig. So we are going to be three. So it's Simone Migliava, the guitarist of Imaginarium, of this particular album, and Clive and I, of course. And it's going to be, as I said, quite intimate, but it's also going to have some moments of the help of backing tracks. Obviously, parts are going to be played live, and that's going to be very interesting. Just to give it this great a bit of a band vibe, which is going to happen in October. That we're going to build the band. We are building the band, and we are programming that too. So it's going. I think it's going to be a very beautiful moment. I hope that the Italians won't miss this opportunity to be with us, because there are not going to be so many Italian gigs, and this is really a huge possibility for for Italians, and I would say also from people around Italy to possibly come to this niche of Prague, because that particular venue is really a niche of Prague. I am absolutely in love with it, and its owner, the owner is such a passionate man. So I really hope that people are going to get involved in this, and they won't be disappointed, I'm so sure. About
Did
the
I
future
get the
plans, of course.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Sorry?
was just going to say, did I get the date wrong? I thought I saw June.
That's right, June,
Oh,
June
okay.
the 6th. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
6th of June. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
6th.
I thought you said
Yeah.
October, but that's something else or
No, we got some full band gigs in October,
oh, okay.
In
seventh,
October. Yeah.
17th or 16th, 17th, something like that.
Yeah.
And are
But
you going to do beginning to end what you have so far for Imaginarium in this show, or is it just this last part?
the Imaginarium show in Verona is the acoustic show. Will feature stuff from Medici and from Siege, and we're also going to kind of, because it's fun, we're going to do a little bit of arena and a few other things I've written
Oh,
over
cool.
the years, just to kind of give it a bit more flavor, because because I also think that there are some songs from those albums that we've done that would translate better as a band performance, not as an acoustic one. So then when we do the full band ones in October, uh, percent of what we play will be Imaginarium, if not all of it actually. So that's the Medici album and the Siege album.
And
Yeah,
you have a lot
yeah.
of arena fans that want to hear arena too, so and don't get that much of a chance maybe to see him in Italy live. So yeah,
Well, in Italy, I mean, to be honest, we generally speaking, on an arena tour, we may play Italy once during that tour, and more often than not, it's this very same place. Um, uh, occasionally we've done the odd festival and a few other venues there, but yeah, very often we go to the same place. So yes, but there's no plans for Arena to do that for a while, and so yeah, come and see us do it instead.
Italy is a very difficult place for music. Italy is very difficult to get audiences. It's difficult. It's a difficult place for quality music. We have quality in everything, but in music we don't have any quality anymore. So it's very difficult to get even venues to play live gigs, to play whatever. Now that's why we thought that as Imaginarium, we would rather choose a niche place that might have less of an audience, but a quality audience. And the owner is, as I said, fantastic. So it's really the best choice in my opinion to go to this Il Giardino. And can you imagine, he was so passionate of Prague that he opened his own house to the people from everywhere. So he like did this makeover of his garage, and he just transformed it into a venue. So he literally lives upstairs, and then into this garage he plays gigs, which is fantastic in my opinion. Which is fantastic. Open your home to people. That's great for your passion. That's so wonderful, and he is really passionate about having us there, and he's a great support. He respects the artist, which is so difficult today, especially in Italy. I'm talking about
I,
Italy now. This is
I'm
a
really surprised
difficult reality.
I'm surprised you say that because this is one of the homes of art and culture, and we
Yeah,
all kind
it
of
is.
learned from, Roman culture, Roman art,
No, no,
and
no. That's so true. If
and
you talk
now
about that, yes,
it's gone.
yeah, but not in music. Not in music, not anymore. If you spoke to Massimo
Yeah.
Pieretti,
He
if you
says
spoke
similar
to
things. Yeah,
he said the same. And if you spoke to Jerry Cotillo at the time, it was the same thing because he moved now to the United States. He travels a lot,
Ian
travels to
Carrillo.
London, travels to USA.
Yeah.
That's it. It's very difficult here to get gigs, to get festivals, to get whatever. So it's the audience that hasn't been educated. For the rest, there's a huge culture of everything, from food to clothes to culture. Generally talking, of course, Italy is Italy, and it will always stay Italy. But for the music, no, there's nothing. There's nothing that I can say. Actually. The prog music was born here
Yeah.
and in the UK. So these are the two places, homes of rock. But no, it has been a bit set apart, and now you have. I might start with some party music. Waste my time with some party bands, because people
Oh,
has
punk.
lost. People have lost the capacity to listen. I just tell you this thing. When we are in the UK and we play our music from Siege, Medici, whatever it is, to people, to friends, to the neighbors, to people that just come there for happens to be there and pops in, they sit down, they close their eyes, and they start to listen to really what you're really doing. In Italy, you play something because you're proud of it, and they kind of start to talk to each other. They don't care about actually what you're playing to them, and this makes me say, musically, it's not where I belong. I've always had my dream in the UK. I always loved it. And the day when I had the possibility to work with one of the greatest composers my mind can really get to, it is a dream coming come true. I mean, it's a really huge thing. I don't belong musically. I don't belong to Italy, not at all. No.
All right. And both of you are working on new projects. Do you want to talk about any of those, or you've mentioned some of them already, but
Well, personally, I'm just at the latter stages of recording for this new Viking album, and the plan is to perform this album that I'm working on in our next musical event, which will be in September this year. So I've got to get it finished. So that should be out then. The single, which is called "Frost Upon the Longships," is actually out tomorrow.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't. I'll be honest. I like to live in my little studio bubble. And I don't really know what out tomorrow means, as in, I don't know what that means as
it'll
far
be
as it's,
posted.
you
Yeah,
know, in my childhood, a single was something you'd go to the shops and you'd buy.
yeah.
And look, I've got the single for the, now I don't even know what that means. I think something that's just radio friendly is probably all we're really sort of saying. But nevertheless, I like to think it's a good song. I think it sounds pretty epic, and I think the album will sound pretty epic when it's done. And Yeah, it'll be, well, it's been a lot of work. It took, again, it's one of those things. Technology is sort of good and bad. It took me 4 weeks to write the album, but it's taken me months to do all the other stuff because everything is at a higher level now because of technology. But it'll come out as an book, or one of those sort of books with
Yeah.
CDs in. There'll be a bonus album. Laura's on the bonus album. I've given her some of the songs to rework, and she'll Lauralize them. And Well, she has already. I've got a couple of them already. And of course, because of her Swedish background and her talent with languages, she's able to give something which will be different to the main album. It'll be, kind of more sort of talking in Old Norse and all this business. So that'll be an interesting flavour. So the whole package will be great. But I'm very proud of the album. I think it's going to sound great. It's going to sound epic. Some of the songs have got 200 voices on, in terms of the chorus, because I opened it up to the internet like I did with the first album during COVID. And I said, if you want to sing on this album, I will provide you with what you need and you'll send it in. And I was sort of underestimating because I ended up with 6,000 vocal clips, which I have had to work my way through, which has been a mountain. But anyway, it's sounding good.
I think I saw that post that you made. Yeah, it's like Arjun Lucasen. He does similar things, and
Does
yeah,
he? Okay. Well, there you go.
and you
Yeah.
just never know how many people are going to participate. But yeah, that's good that you got the participation. That's fantastic.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I'm. Please send that to me when you're all done. I'd love to review it, and we'll do all this again. But everything this guy does is top notch and top of the line and very, very well, not only performed and composed, but he also does the history behind it. And thank you for that because there's so many, you know, Disney repeats and so many, cinematic. I mean, it's such a sad time in Hollywood. I reached this age and I thought, now I finally have some time. I could sit back and watch all these movies that are going to be coming. And now they're playing all the stuff that I saw in the, 70s and 80s already, and they're just redoing them. It's like, wait a minute, that's not what I wanted. I wanted something new.
Yeah, well, the trouble is they're kind of rewriting history on the way through as well,
Well,
because
that
we're
too.
right
Yeah, yeah,
according to
right.
of society today, and
Yeah,
somehow to make everything palatable, we're kind of, but the history is getting lost, which is, I think, a terrible shame. Kids are going to grow up thinking that certain things were done in a certain way, and it's just not the case.
yeah.
But you know, it's the way it goes.
There's nothing we can do to stop it, unfortunately,
No,
except vote with
except write albums like The Siege
the
and
only
recorrect history.
The only thing I can do is vote with my dollar, and I don't go to those movies, and I don't buy the DVDs or the downloads or any of that stuff. And
Mm.
I know I'm only one guy, but hopefully there's enough people out there doing the same thing, saying, give us something new. And some of these people are, and we've got some big ones coming. The whole Dune thing has been unbelievable, and I'm looking forward to that. But Laura, go ahead. Tell me what you're up to.
Well, as Clive said, I'm very busy with working on those 4 songs that I am going to send over to Clive, because it has been a huge job that I decided to start this path into Old Norse, and really I'm singing, I mean, talking a lot of Old Norse, and it has been an incredible path. I was very happy to do it because it's worth it with Clive, because I know that he is going to appreciate it. I know he's going to, I hope, like it. And it's all about, translating, going into it. How do I sound? Do I sound really Norse? Is it how's it? I'm very perfectionist, so I need to have the exact way of pronouncing
Mhm.
one thing rather than the other. So this is the one thing. Then I'm recording some things for Chamber of Creation, and I have a collaboration out with. I think the album is out now. Pardon me, I don't remember the name of the band in this moment. But I did participate in another on another album with a song, and I have some collaborations that I am thinking about if I'm going to do them or not. Besides this, I'm obviously very busy with everything regarding Imaginarium, which is my primary thing, and trying to make that work as it really deserves. And of course, thinking about, as soon as possible, hopefully, Clive, the next chapter of Imaginarium, which is always something that, wow, what would that be? Of course, we can't reveal that, but we have the whole thing in our minds. So hopefully very
We have
soon.
been uh, we have been working on a new Christmas song for next year.
Mm.
Well, I should say for
Oh,
this year.
yes, damn it, I forgot it.
That'll be
Not one. We are working on Christmas songs. More than one. Yes, that's true. We are working on
looking for
Christmas songs.
that
Oh,
with
very beautiful. Yes, after the gift, we got another one. Um,
yeah.
and well, and more songs. So there's going to be a bunch of beautiful Christmas songs that hopefully before Christmas one will be released, of course, and maybe two. Who
Let
knows?
me ask you one thing, because and hopefully I'm not touching any bad areas, but were you working on a project with Anne Claire, or you've kind of put that on hold, or?
Mm, so it was, I was in the project, but she then took me out of the project. So she took me out of the project, yes. So that was it. But yeah, that was there was already, I think, like 1 year ago, something frantic, that one. Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
granted. Oh,
so
okay, okay.
yeah,
Because
she was very happy about it, but then yeah, that she took me out. Yeah.
when you guys first talked about it, I don't think it had a name, so I
Yes.
just was hoping.
Yeah, I remember that we spoke about it together. Yes, and that was supposed to. Well, I was surprised. Yes, and when I was taken out of it. Yeah.
Hmm,
So, but yeah, it's a.
well, um, let me ask both of you, is there anything I haven't covered? I know we didn't go deep dive into the album, but I sometimes my wife tells me you do too much of that. But the point is to get people out there to listen to it. And he's going to say one thing, I'll say another, she'll say another. But the most important thing is what you think. And I'm sure he'll probably agree with me. He wants you to experience this thing, and she does too, and find something in it that you can connect to. And I'm sure you will. There's plenty there. It's a great story. And okay. Anything else you guys wanted to say?
I think as so often with these things, you're talking about something, the only way to really know what we're talking about is to give it a listen. And if you've got the time, energy, willingness, then I'll be very happy for people out there to do precisely that. And I'm very proud of it as an album. And I hope that people will enjoy it, basically. Yeah.
It is something to be experienced. You really have to take the time, do the deep dive. From what I remember, the credits, the story is in the booklet and things like that. So read through all that as you're listening, and it's a story, and someday might be a play, but there's so much to it, and yeah, it's you can immerse yourself for sure. I'm sorry, Laura, go ahead.
Can I just say one thing,
Yeah, go
actually, that
ahead.
uh, although it's not The Mortal Light, there is a movie being made of Alchemy, the first one.
Oh,
And it's a British company, so it's been going at the speed of absolute snails. But filming is about to restart. There's been a whole budget issue and all the rest of, well, as you can imagine, it's not Hollywood money. But a new producer has got involved in the project, and this is really opened it up. So in fact, a lot is happening at the moment, and all of a sudden they're turning around to me and say, "Well, we need the music, we need the singers, we need the backing track," which is fine because I'm in the middle of 1,001 other things. But a movie is being made of
yeah.
alchemy, so you never know. That might appear somewhere. I have absolutely no idea where. Netflix, maybe, who knows? And if it was to do even quite well, I love the idea that perhaps there would be a second and a third one. Who knows? We'll see.
Wonderful.
Mm.
And Laura, go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Anything else?
No, I just want to say that Mortal Light is a great, it's actually a great musical, very intriguing. And for all the musical lovers, and not only, I think that the music is obviously so well composed that you really should give it a go. And I'm sure that you're going to love it. It's really intriguing, and the package is fantastic. It's everything's very appealing. So, well, go ahead, listen, and start to imagine everything. And in the future, who knows, we might end up in some, yeah, perhaps on Netflix or something for another part of this musical. And who knows? And then you already saw it years back when I was sitting there listening to the album. And this is exactly what I was thinking about. And you visualize it, you really visualize it. It's very fun, and it's cool, a cool story.
And this one hopefully will be made into a movie someday too. But yeah,
That'd be
it is.
nice.
Yeah, it has a potential. All right. Anything else? Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and pause and definitely thank both of these guys. They're very, as you have heard many times now, they're very busy, and yet they took time out of their Sunday to give me and all of you that are listening a chance to hear what's going on. And there's a lot of good stuff as usual from Clive and from Laura. There's always something new coming, so definitely take a listen to this, but know that there's more. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank you for
so
taking
much,
the time to talk to us.
All
And as I said, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's one. That's good. We've started.
right. All right.
it's a great start.
I'm going to go ahead and pause, and then we'll just be able to say goodbye to each other. But again, the Mortal Light, please give it a listen. All right, hold on.